Good morning and welcome to the show. In case you've just started watching, thank you so much for doing that. Yes, there are options, but we are the best, if we do not say so ourselves. And if you've been with us from 6 a.m., well, thank you so very much. We see the hashtag coming in, K24AlphaJ, on social media and on SMS. To get a hold of us, 21222, is that you can send in your comments or opinion. Now, right now, we're going to change what we've been talking about. But before that, let me tell you how the weather is going to be today. In Nairobi, it's going to be cold. Straight up, highs of 25 and lows of 13. And in Mombasa, expect thunderstorms, highs of 29 and lows of 22. Kisumu is going to be equally as cold. And in Garissa, expect some sun, highs of 36 and lows of 23. Let's take a look at your international weather forecast. Now, later on this hour, we'll be talking about the very first digital festival. What is that about and how can you get involved? In the next hour, we're going to talk about photography and making that your career. However, in this hour, we also have interactive, but right now, Ian is standing by to talk about what he told us earlier. Today is a World Animal Day, and with him is someone who takes, his interest lies in the welfare of donkeys. Ian, is that true?
That is very true. I just want to speak to Fred Ochieng, who is actually the CEO for Brooke East Africa. And all they deal with is, the welfare of the donkeys. And I must pose this question to you. When you talk to people and you tell them that your work is to, and especially here in Kenya, is to take care of the donkey welfare, what kind of feedback do you get at first?
Thank you very much, Ian, and thank you for having me. Whenever you mention donkeys to anyone, I think the immediate reaction is laughing. People giggle, people wonder, isn't there anything more serious that you can talk about than donkeys? Yeah. So it's a very common perception because there's very little recognition in this country that donkeys are very important animals. They serve the people. They provide quite a huge contribution to the livelihoods of rural communities in this country.
Yeah.
Yes.
And tell us, why did you choose to perhaps be waking up every morning and take care of the donkey welfare? What is it that drives you towards this?
Actually, it's not just about donkeys. It's donkeys, horses, and mules. Yeah. Fortunately, horses are treated pretty well in this country. The problem we have is the treatment around donkeys. Now, if you look at Kenya, we have about 1.8 million donkeys from statistics. And 3/4 of these animals are used by people to move goods from one place to another, or to be able to move people from one spot to another. People use them commercially in many of these areas, and so contribute enormously to the livelihoods of these people. In fact, there are people that may not be able to put food on their table if a donkey doesn't go to work. There are others who may not even be able to get to hospital if a donkey will not ferry them there. There are kids who will not make it to school if a donkey doesn't go to work. So that is how useful a donkey is in this country. We have recently done a study which was based in Mwea that actually gave us very interesting information. And one issue was that a donkey earns an owner close to 850 shillings every day. And usually, you will find an owner with another user, when they're using the donkeys. And so the owner takes home 850, the user takes home about 450 shillings. So that's a lot of money. So
basically, are you saying that the donkey makes about 1,300 a day?
Exactly.
1,300 a day.
The donkey makes about 1,300 for the owner and for the user.
Yeah.
But remember, these are two individuals who may have also their families. We approximate that up to about 7 people are actually taken care of by a single donkey in this country.
And specifically that you've mentioned the donkey is facing a lot of challenges. Why do you think that perhaps people do not see it as important as they should?
There are quite a number of myths around donkeys. I remember when we started the program, you'd go to even some of these communities, and those who own the donkeys would not even want to be identified because people looked at them as those who are not worthy of anything within the society. The donkeys themselves in some communities are looked at as more of taboo animals. There is no respect for these donkeys, and largely because people cannot see their contribution to these animals. And this is why for us a day like this is really important, because it's recognizing not just that these animals are very useful to people, but also because these animals have feelings, they are sentient. So if you train your animal well, the animal will do the work for you. If you take care of it, it will take care of you. So basically that is what we've been preaching. It is not surprising, in fact, someone like Mahatma Gandhi said that the greatness of a nation and its moral progress can only be judged by the way the nation treats its animals. So you can imagine if you look at Kenya, how can we be judged on the basis of how we treat our animals?
Yeah.
Yes.
And maybe talk more about the donkey and the connection that I understand that they can even go to a point where they have a connection with human beings.
Yes. That's very true. Some of the researches that have been done outside the country actually show that people who have donkeys in their homes, and indeed other animals, are actually socially much more fitting within the society. You will find that there are people who will be talking to their animals if there's no one else they can talk to, you know. So there are other ways of healing, there are other ways of benefits that we actually get from these animals. So it's not just their contribution in terms of the way the energy is harnessed to do work, but there are also other social, issues. Of course, in this country, if you go to Turkana, people will tell you that drinking the milk of the donkey will actually help in treating whooping cough.
Is this true?
There are no research that can evidence that. But you see, when you talk with the communities, and they will actually tell you that incidences of whooping cough are very low because of that. You can only believe it. I mean, there are a number of things that work, but we haven't been able to go further and do some researches to be able to establish, the authenticity of that information.
And you talked about, the welfare of donkeys. Maybe in brief, you can tell us, perhaps someone is watching and maybe they do own a donkey, or they perhaps have never seen the value of it. How should one take care of it so that at least they do not rub Brooke International the wrong way, or Brooke East Africa, actually?
Just like human beings, a donkey requires a good feed, of high quality. A donkey requires to be given water to drink. A donkey requires shelter. A donkey requires a level of comfort, from the sun or from the rain. A donkey requires to be treated and handled properly so that they don't suffer from pain or injuries. And all these are things that we are actually trying to promote. We're asking people that, these are animals that are useful, so can you take care of it? Can you make sure that you give them feed, you give them clean water to drink? After you work them, can you rest them a bit so that they can able to, get their energy back for another day? Can you make sure that when it's too hot, you put them in a place where there's a bit of shade? Can you handle it in a way that you don't have to cane it? Because donkeys are very intelligent animals. If you teach a donkey, they will obey the commands. And so you can talk to them. I remember a story about someone who was transporting milk in Nyandarua, and they would get the donkey to move the milk from the farm to the collection center. And the donkey knew how to do that. So the donkey, all you needed is just to put the milk on the cart and the donkey will transport it to the collection center. Of course, unfortunately, the story did not end up well because people discovered that, a donkey is moving around with milk. So there are people who carry out the cans. But donkeys are very intelligent. So once you've taught them and you teach them well, they will respond to
And you've advocated very well for the welfare of the donkey, but then we've also seen instances where abattoirs and are being officially open in Kenya. Now we're talking about slaughtering the donkey and even processing the meat and for exports mostly. What does it make you feel as someone who is tasked to look out for the welfare? Yeah,
I think I have to mention that as Brooke East Africa, we are not necessarily against donkey slaughter. I think what we are keen on is that if the donkeys have to be slaughtered, they need to be slaughtered in a welfare-friendly manner. So that has to be done properly. However, I must also mention that if you look on the side of the community, if you look at the contribution of these animals to the livelihoods of the people, and as I said, for instance, a donkey earning about 1,300 every day. Now, if you look at those who are slaughtering the donkeys for export, and largely they're paying about 7,000 shillings, yeah. A donkey owner will be able to earn that money in about a week, yeah. And once that donkey is sold for 7,000, that livelihood means is cut short. So they will not be able to earn that amount anymore. So I think when you look at that, I don't think it is something that serves the communities. We are taking away their means of livelihoods by slaughtering these animals. There have been arguments that these slaughterhouses are providing employment. So if you take, the slaughterhouse in Baringo with about, say, 100 or 200 people being employed. But look at the population of donkeys in this country. Now we approximate about 1.2 million donkeys are being worked every day. And that means, a huge number of people, close to 800,000 people, who are benefiting from this. So if you take away all these animals, what will these people do? How will they earn their livelihoods? Countries such as Burkina Faso, such as Senegal, have been able to ban donkey slaughter in their countries because they recognize the usefulness of donkeys to the livelihoods of the people. Ethiopia recently, the communities actually banned a slaughterhouse in Ethiopia.
I was actually coming to that. What perhaps prompted the community to actually touch the slaughterhouse within that area?
I think
this is in Ethiopia.
What is interesting is if you look at the story around donkey slaughter. So China, a lot of donkeys are being slaughtered for the Chinese market. Now, China alone has about 11 million donkeys. Now, Ethiopia, on the other hand, has about 5 million. And Ethiopia was saying, look, why are you slaughtering our donkeys to take to China? Why don't they finish their own donkeys first before you can actually slaughter ours? Yeah. But donkeys in Ethiopia are hugely useful for those communities. And I think the communities were just upset that they are going to finish their donkeys and they will not have anything to be able to earn the means to be able to earn their own income.
And you've talked about the banning of slaughtering in other countries, and that brings me to my next question. In terms of policies to ensure that the donkey welfare is protected, do we have such policies in the country, and are they effective, or would you like to see some of these policies come up?
Obviously, we could do better. I mean, one of the things that has been done in this country was to gazette donkey meat. So from a legal standpoint, someone can actually eat the donkey meat when it's slaughtered and it's actually labeled properly. But I think what that did not do was to look at the usefulness of those animals to the communities, the numbers that we have, and whether it is worth actually slaughtering these animals. We have enough cows, we have enough goats. We don't need to go to the donkey. So we need to do better in terms of policies. We need to address policy gaps in terms of how the animals are treated, and more specifically now, how the animals are protected, so that we don't end up with no donkeys at all in the near future. Yes.
And as we wrap up, perhaps are there any programs being run by Brooke East Africa to just ensure that the welfare of the donkey is taken care? The donkeys are rather taken care of.
Brooke is currently working in 15 counties in this country through partnership organizations. So we support the partner organizations through funding and through technical support to be able to reach out to the users, to be able to reach out to animal health service practitioners, so that, for instance, the vets are aware of what they need to do when animals are sick. They need to be able to help to work with the owners in terms of improving their welfare. We also have this partner organization working with the local government to be able to ensure that the right policies at the local level, because the issue of welfare is actually a devolved function.
Yeah.
So we are very keen that the devolved governments are able to put in place the right policy environment for the welfare of these animals to be able to thrive. So a lot of work going on. Currently, through the funding we are giving, about 300,000 donkeys are benefiting, actually, on a daily basis. And it is not just the donkeys. We also have people like the vets, vet service, people who provide that service also benefit, because when they treat the animals, they get payment from that as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah, quite a number of
You also have a program by the name Mtunze Punda Daima. Maybe you can tell us more about that.
Yes, that's actually the slogan.
Okay.
We've been working with communities to be able to identify how best to be able to carry out these campaigns. And the communities felt that the best way is actually to come up with a slogan that they can identify with. And so Mtunze Punda Daima is about caring for your donkeys always, again, because of the recognition of the importance of these animals.
Yeah, and maybe, Fred, 3-5 years from now, what would you like to see in terms of the welfare of the donkey and, perception of the general public towards the animal?
Now, I think the first thing I would like to see is recognition by policymakers that these animals are useful to their communities, useful to their counties, useful to this country in general, because this country benefits a lot from the proceedings from the donkeys, from the earnings by the community. So we need to see that happening in the next couple of... We need to see the right policies put in place by counties as well as the national government. I think it is going to be very important. But we also want to see the public recognizing the importance, not just of the donkeys, but also of the owners. Yeah. This is the means of livelihood. We need to understand, we need to appreciate what is going on through the donkeys. But I think what would also be much more important is the owners themselves and the users, recognizing that these animals have provided them a service, and so they also need to take care of these animals. And I think that is what we have been struggling with. People using the animals, they gain from them, yet they mistreat them. So we want to see a bit of change in attitude from the people, a bit of change from their behavior as well as the practice.
And that is why we have this World Animal Day, 4th of October 2016. What does this day significantly mean to you? And what are you doing to ensure that more people actually know about it? Because to be honest, I had not known about this until I interacted with Brooke East Africa.
Incidentally, World Animal Day started in 1925, and it actually started in Germany. And it is a movement. It's a movement to improve the welfare standards of animals. And the person who started it is a guy called Zimmermann in German. And the whole idea is setting a day so that we can be able to speak about animals. We can be able to talk to the welfare of these animals. You can encourage others to be able to contribute to that. One thing that is interesting is when this day was established, it used to be celebrated in March, not even in October. But then, if you remember, there's St. Francis of Assisi, the Catholic saint that was had a heart for animals, and so they decided to move it much closer to the day when we celebrate the feast of St. Francis. So I think for us, it's a very important day. In fact, today there's going to be a small celebration at Uhuru Park and a procession just to be able to, again, create awareness to the public on the importance of these animals. And also rally other animal welfare organizations. There are many animal welfare organizations in this country that are very keen that animals are treated with respect and that their welfare standards are actually raised so that people can be able to benefit more and more from it. And the World Animal Day is not a Kenyan thing, so it's a global thing. So there are many countries that are actually celebrating World Animal Day.
Perhaps someone is interested to talk to Brooke East Africa, or even find out more about how they can take care of the donkeys, and maybe even want to get into that venture. How can they access you?
Now they can go to our website, www.thebrook.org, They can also go to our Facebook page, Brooke East Africa, and also our Twitter handle. So we are accessible. They should be able to get in touch with us anytime.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you very much. I have been speaking to Fred Ochieng, the CEO of Brooke East Africa, telling us more about the World Animal Day. In case you did not know that it has been marked every year since 1925 on the 4th of October, and that is today. Thank you very much, Fred, once again. Now, you do know that here on K24 Alpha J, we also like to appreciate talent and also what many people are doing out there. And this next story is similar to what I'm saying. There is a local football club right here in the capital, Nairobi, which has thrashed some top clubs in the world. Akaro Football Club is what I'm talking about. It has laid top teams like Atletico Madrid, Barcelona, and Liverpool. The under-11 squad based in Korogosho slums recently clinched the Donawen Cup after humiliating Atletico Madrid. Now, they also won it in 2015 after clobbering Barcelona. Sean Osimbo Okambo spent the time with the team and filed this report.
Slums in Kenya have a reputation of poverty, crime, overcrowding, and very few opportunities for its residents. However, this is not the case when it comes to Akakoro Football Academy, located here in Korogocho slum.
I'm part of the Akakoro Football Academy, which stands for Academy of Korogocho Football. So far we have 98 children who are benefiting and who are members of the academy, and 11 coaches who take care for the welfare of these children. And there are a lot of benefits for the children if they are in Akakoro football. For example, daily training, training uniforms, qualified coaches, we pay the school fees, we give them daily dinner, we pay the home transport. And the whole Akakoro football project is about children from Korogocho, Kariobangi, Dandora, so low-income areas or even slums. Started Akakoro football in 2013. We had a selection process where we invited all primary schools of Korogocho, Kariobangi. I think there were 43 schools. We saw 6,000 children in 1 month, and we picked the talented ones. 2015 we felt ready for the first time to go even to Europe for a top tournament in under 11 age category, and there we succeeded. Everybody was surprised. We beat Borussia Dortmund, Liverpool, Juventus, and in the final the big team from FC Barcelona, we beat them 1-0. Invited again for 2016. Nobody thought we can repeat it. It was just luck, but it wasn't luck, because even this time we were the winners after a penalty shootout in the final with Atletico Madrid.
So what I did, me kama coach, niliweka training ikwe twice a day. Nilipata kama tuko watu kwa holiday kidogo wamefunga shule, so I was doing the training in the morning na jioni kukipatwa hii fit, ambapo nikienda huko nilikuwa najua wale ni wa deadly. Hata nilijua timu yangu mostly probably hataguza ball cha Barcelona. Najua I know the bigger Barcelona vile wanacheza, so nili expect more, but nilienda huko nikapata sio hard sana, ni jina tu.
Which team do you want to play for when you grow up?
Barcelona. Atletico. Barcelona.
There is so much talent in this country, but if the government, if the FKF, if the institutions, the big institutions are not helping, then talent is nothing, because talent is everywhere on the world. From this first generation, some boys, they have the talent to make it to the Harambee Stars or to Europe, but I'm very sure that the young ones, if they get proper training, if they get proper support, and Akakoro football has the funds to help them, then I'm sure this can change the face of Kenyan football in future.
Korogocho. It's so good to see when people take time out to go and empower young people, you know, to just equip them with skills that can help them change their lives and empower their lives, you know, just enhance, their lives and enrich, their lives and other people around them. It's just so big to see. So it's always just good, you know, for you to go out there and do some good. How about that? All right, so now the hashtag is K24 Alfajiri at K24TV is how you interact with us. And on SMS, we are on 21222. Ian was handling the conversation before about World Animal Day, so you get to learn more about it. If you missed the interview, check it out on our YouTube channel. How about you go and subscribe? Plus, while you're there, how about you just download the Media Max app so that you can just ensure you know everything that we're up to across all our platforms, whether it's the newspaper or even our TV station and radio and all of it just together. All right, so now we're going to be talking about Digital Festival. Now, it's a festival that's supposed to be happening very soon, and we have one of the participants who's here to tell us exactly what he does. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hi, Musa.
I'm good, thanks.
What are your full names, actually?
Musa Omusi.
Musa Omusi.
Yeah.
Oh,
the names rhyme.
Yes,
somehow.
yeah. So, Musa Omusi, what do you do?
I'm an illustrator, a graphic designer, and a fashion designer.
Oh, those are three in one.
Nairobi, yeah.
So where did it start?
It started with illustration, like when I was much younger. And that evolved into graphic design, which is what I majored in and practiced for some time. And then now I'm just getting into fashion.
How is it so far?
It's interesting. It's a different ball game altogether, but the elements are the same. That's how it feels.
Oh, for now, because they're all creative.
Yes, because I believe that as long as you can understand art or design or any creative process, then you can apply it to any of the fields. So now it's just applying it in fashion.
So, I mean, you know, that vision, that dream, it had to come from somewhere.
Yeah, I'd say growing up, there was my uncle who practiced art, and there was just everything around that was interesting to see and stimulate, but that's about it.
Even with fashion?
With fashion, it came from my mom. My mom used to make clothes, and I used to hang out with my mom a lot, and I'd always be there. Mama's boy, for real. I'd always be hanging out with her, and I'd be at her shop when she's making stuff, and I was always interested in it, but I never really took it up because it didn't seem like it was as serious, or it was, I don't know, there was this perception of it that changed only a few years ago.
So how long, were you doing illustration only before you started with fashion?
So I was working with illustration and graphic design at the same time, because it was like one is a tool of the other. So a lot of my graphic design work features a lot of illustration and hand-drawn work and just work that I've done myself. So I've been doing that, I'd say, for the last 5 years.
Oh, 5 years.
Yeah.
And then fashion?
Fashion for the last 2 years. So we started a brand with a friend of mine called Bongo Sawa, and that's the platform that we're using to express all these ideas.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So what you're going to be showcasing your work at the festival?
Yes.
Now with fashion, you know, you have to have looked through books and, you know, seen a lot of runways.
Yeah.
So did you always know you're going to get into it? Did you always find yourself just inclined to go for such events?
Yeah.
Oh.
I remember, like, when I got my first camera, and it was a film camera, the first place I went was the Kenya Fashion Week, and it was, like, very dark and poor, so all the photos that I got were just, like, very blurred, but like I enjoy going for this event, and I enjoy seeing it, and I enjoy just being in that space of where people are experiencing fashion and expressing themselves through their clothes. Yeah.
Now, when did you then, it's a bold move to decide, okay, you know, I'm going to now go and show people my work.
Yeah.
It's almost like exposing yourself to critique. And sometimes people are just extremely hateful.
Yeah.
So was it as easy, you know, venturing into it as you had imagined?
I think the difference is that my approach now is with the less fear. I think I've been able to overcome fears of people's perceptions based on graphic design, because graphic design has also, like, people always have an idea of what something should look like, and if it doesn't look like that, then it's either respected or fully, like, blown off and put away. Yeah.
And I understand that you have a love for comics.
Yes, I'm actually working on a comic.
Oh, your own?
Next year,
Ah.
yeah. So
I saw one with DJ Enruff. Did you see that? By
no,
Point Blank?
That's Point Blank, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
so,
you know him?
Yes,
okay.
I know him very well. And yeah, comics they're everything, they're fun. I remember, like, I learned how to draw based on, like, Bongo Man. It was the first illustration I ever did. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, you also have a series called Misemo.
Yes.
Tell us about it.
So the Misemo series is my interpretation of the classic traditional Swahili sayings. And it was just to...
Which is, okay, Misemo.
Yeah,
okay.
I was just like, how can we say these things that have been said by the Wahenga or the people that came before us and translate it or make it relevant to the present time? And that's how it came up. So it was a series of about 15 pieces that had different interpretations of Akili Ninywele.
So what is the interpretation for that?
It's visual, like.
You have to see it?
Yeah.
I have to check it out. You're pointing at my laptop. You're like, check it out, and then you see it.
Yeah.
So do you have an understanding of Swahili? You're from Mombasa?
No, I'm not.
Oh,
I'm from Nairobi, born and raised.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
So then why Misemo?
Because I love Swahili, and I tell a lot of my friends that this, and I don't know if they believe it, but like I was the chairman of the Kiswahili Club, and I was so proud of that in primary school, and I was so proud of that like, I don't know, I feel like I enjoy the language because it sounds beautiful, it has meaning, it's very complex as well, but it's a beautiful language.
Is that why you have spoken so much of it during this interview?
Nah.
Is that perhaps why?
I think I forgot a bit of it. I think I forgot a bit of it.
A bit?
Yeah.
You know, it's so funny. Outside, right before we got in, I asked you if you speak Swahili.
Yeah.
Because I was talking to you in Swahili and you were
I
responding.
responded in English, yeah?
Yeah, so I was asking you, do you speak in Swahili? And you're like, yeah.
Naongea Swahili wakati, you see, like...
Yeah, wakati kidogo.
Yeah.
Now, with your art, you know, a lot of people always, there's a message they're trying to convey.
Yeah.
So with the Misemo series, you were trying to, you know, make people understand, you know, Misemo, those are the sayings.
Yeah.
So generally, what are messages that you try to pass with your art?
I think I always try and express things that I'm coming into understanding of. So it's more of what I'm feeling or what I'm experiencing or what I'm understanding and passing that on, because I feel like that's what it's for. The experience is to be shared, and you're supposed to gain some form of wisdom and then pass it on so that people can then reduce their process of going through things. Yeah.
We're talking about the growth of the art industry here, you know, in the country.
Yeah.
How is it going so far?
I think it's amazing. I think it's amazing. The existence or the availability of the internet or online platforms has allowed for so much to happen in such a short span of time that I feel like there are more people willing to create, which is what we need. And once we have more people creating, we have more content, and then we have more stuff to sift through, and then we can end up with some interesting ideas and products and statements.
Now, you know, with you being in the game for quite some time now, there must have been challenges that you were facing once you started, and then now. You know, there has to have been some strides and achievements the industry has made. So what are some of those?
I'd say the challenges on two fronts. Those challenges that I experienced myself just based on my own understanding or like getting into this thing, like fears and just doubts and like very, very normal human being problems.
Can I do it? Am I good enough?
Yeah, and then there's also the idea of, on the other end, because this is, most of the time, there's an exchange that happens in art. And so you present something, but someone, due to lack of understanding or just different taste, then the work is rejected. So there's always that the challenge of trying to find a balance between you, the creator, and you, the person who's perceiving the work. Yeah. Okay,
so those were your struggles, and then, you know, so what are the benefits now of being an illustrator as well as a fashion designer?
I think it's amazing to have a voice. I think it's amazing to be able to do whatever you feel like doing. And at this point in time, with the availability of the net and online stuff, then you can share your work without having to to find a specific avenue. You can just put it out to the world, and the audience is bigger, and there's better response.
Oh, yeah. Now, you know, with YouTube University, do people even need to go? I mean, in your field, do you even have to go back to school?
No,
or like, you know, to upgrade, right?
Not at all, because even part of the project that I'm working on for the Digital Arts Festival.
Yes.
Majority of the stuff I learned online. It was just like I need to put together this videos that I've been collecting over a period of time and make it into something sensible. I don't know how to use this software. I don't know what it's going to look like, but I'm going to put myself to the test. I'm going to use YouTube, 5-minute videos. You come and apply, and
voila.
Yeah, and I'm grateful. You just used it. I'm grateful. I'm grateful that I've been able to learn that, and I hope that can be part of the thing that shows in the work and is presented as part of the work.
No, that is so incredible to see. It's just fascinating. Now, you have spoken about the Digital Art Festival. So tell us about it. Is it the first of its kind?
I think it's the first time.
Okay.
It's in collaboration with YKNL, which is Youth Knows No Limits.
Yes.
And Bithi Masia.
Yeah.
And they curated 5 artists. They selected 5 artists who would be presenting different ideas of the digital art in different aspects, and it was based on the idea of activism. I picked the idea of activism, how we can use the social media platforms and digital art to promote social messaging and consciousness.
Are you also going to be doing something as well now as we go into an election year? Very important.
I don't know how I feel about the elections.
Oh, yeah. No, but you see, when you are in activism, you try and sensitize people.
I don't know about politics.
Okay.
I don't know about politics.
So you're just like, let me just stick to it. I
will
just
let me stick to the things that I know and the things that I would vouch for.
Okay.
And
So when is the festival?
It opens this evening.
Oh, today?
Yeah, today.
Where is it?
The opening will be at Shift Eye Gallery. There'll be a movie showing at 4 p.m. And then there's a showcase at 7 p.m. and then the doors are open.
Yeah. So how much is it?
It's free.
Oh, it's free entry.
Yeah.
Do people support it? Art?
Yeah.
They do? They come out,
so. I think more people are coming out to shows now because there are more shows available. I feel like we need a few more gallery spaces and we need more artists producing work, that's all.
Yeah. I'm going to ask you a personal question, so give me a frank answer. Now, there was a youth summit that took place yesterday. Were you aware?
No, I wasn't.
Okay, so...
I was caught up in work.
and that's fine. But now the research that came out is a lot of people don't actually know how, you know, there are so many different initiatives that are formed by the government or, you know, the government comes up with them for young people, such as yourself, and you don't know about them. Why is it that you don't know?
Maybe it's not communicated well.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the ideal would be to pick the right avenue to communicate because there are avenues where a lot of people are. And if you're truly trying to give service, then you need to find people where they are.
Okay.
Yeah,
all right,
you need to reach out to them.
All right.
Yeah.
Fantastic feedback.
Yeah.
Now, one of the biggest things that came out was unemployment. Now, I bet you've seen in the newspapers and people just constantly complaining. And even now, I bet you know a couple of guys are looking for a job, right? So how is the job market when it comes to art? Are there enough opportunities?
I think there are because my route was through advertising. That's how I got to graphic design, and I know that there are many advertising agencies and they employ a certain number of people, but at the same time I feel like the idea of constantly hunting for work is not the ideal route to go, and I think the idea should be to create your own opportunities and create your own form of employment because it's possible. And a lot more people are doing that now. All right. Now, at the showcase later on today, you're going to be bags in Guinea? What were you telling me? Yes. So the project is about waste. And the idea is sustainable design involves like using whatever already exists and adding onto or taking out like just very little so that we're not spending more resources to build something new, right? So we'll be doing a bunch of gunia bags, of which is we want to propose the end of like plastic bags. We don't want people to be using plastic bags anymore. So we are proposing that with this gunia bag, which is made of 100% recycled material, it's more durable, it's longer lasting, and it's a better solution to that. So it's a proposition. That's what we're trying to present.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so now tell me about Made with Love.
Made with Love is a studio I founded 3 years ago. It's a creative collaboration studio. That's how it functions. We only work when we're working with other people or with clients, and it's dope. That's all I can say.
Made with Love. Who came up with that? You or you?
Me.
Oh yeah. Why? Because it is made with love.
Yeah, because that's how we want to create. We want to create from a place of love, which is the most honest, is the most pure, the best place to create from. Yeah.
All right. So now, seeing as you have, been in the industry long enough, where would you like to see the art game go, especially here in Kenya? The art scene.
Currently, since I'm looking at fashion, I want like a radical shift in fashion, because a lot of the stuff that we see or that has been presented to us as fashion or Kenyan fashion, I don't feel is truly representative of who we are. So I'd like to see like more work and more exploration and just more. I want to walk around and everyone is wearing something made in Kenya, and I don't know. I just want more.
Yeah. Do people support it enough? The clothes, that is, because you just said wear Kenya.
Yeah.
Support KE.
Yeah.
So they do, yeah?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. It would be nice if they did. And there's a lot of amazing talent, isn't there?
And I think it's also to pull back to understand that for people to support this thing, then we need to give equal or better quality than what's available.
Okay.
Because we're used to, for example, the mitumba market, where we're able to get things at an affordable price. It's true.
Yes.
It's true. It's good quality. You'll get like a dope Nike shoe
that no one else will have.
That no one else will have, but no one is giving you an option that will allow you to spend that 3,000 on a new shoe, on a thing that you know where it's been made or whatever. So I feel like at the same time, it's also, anyone who's creating also needs to up their game in terms of what they're presenting. So it's not to expect people to consume without giving them something good.
All right. Yeah. Thank you so much for coming today in the studio.
Yeah.
Musa Omusi is going to be showcasing his work later on today at the Shift Eye Gallery. The Digital Art Festival will be taking place starting at 7 p.m., right? All right. So there's going to be a movie at 4 p.m. And then at 7 p.m. there's going to be a showcase. 5 artists are going to showcase their work. And it's going to be very interesting. He also has a 3-minute film that is going to be showing. So it's going to be quite dope to see. Go and support KE. If you know anyone who's a fashion designer, this would be a place that they would want to go. An illustrator, this is somewhere they would definitely be interested in going. And in the next hour, we're still in the arts. We're going to be talking about photography. How do you get jobs for photography? Does it even pay? Which camera should you be buying? Where should you be getting that? Let me apologize for my mic as it falls off and all of that. The hashtag, of course, is K24AlphaJ. Right now, let's find out what exactly is trending. It's time for Interactive.
Thank you very much, Amina. And to look at some of the top tweets or top trending topics that you have been talking about. And of course, the African Union was trending yesterday, and this comes in light of the good news that President Uhuru Kenyatta had actually forwarded the name of the Cabinet Secretary for Foreign Affairs as the next chairperson of the African Union. Let's just take a look at how some of you welcome this move. And first of all, the tweet there by the President saying that my administration has submitted the candidature of Ambassador Amina Mohammed for consideration at the African Union Summit in January 2017. She will be facing 2 other candidates for the same position. Now, we also have Joy Doreen Bira talking about Kenya has submitted Foreign Affairs CS Ambassador Amina Mohammed as a name for the chairperson of the African Union. Give it to her already. Waste no time. Give it to her is what she says. Now, Anita says Ambassador Amina Mohammed has been doing a good job as CS, and I think she is the best candidate for the next chairperson of the African Union. And in that light, we also had her name trending the entire time. CS Amina was trending, and we had Nizi KE who says, I'm happy for CS Amina on the possible appointment to the AU. Just hoping that all the good work she has done isn't erased by whoever comes next. Remember, once she takes up this role, she would not be able actually to continue with her position as the Cabinet Secretary for Foreign Affairs. Now, we have Yusuf Hassan saying President President Kenyatta has submitted the name of CS Amina Mohammed as the next chairperson of the AU Commission. That one we have seen already. Keguru simply says CS Mohammed would be a fantastic head of the AU. Now, another trending topic. Yesterday we had the State House Summit on youth, and the hashtag was actually transforming youth KE. A lot of concerns being raised in regards to the welfare of the youth, and we have Faki Liwali says, if we're going to talk about transforming youth in Kenya, we have to ensure that we strengthen areas like sports where they thrive and have promise. And then we have Covenant Tailors, who said, our grandfathers and fathers are not willing to give young people any chance, not even their children. Hashtag transforming youth KE. Remember that sentiments coming from this is that majority of those already in leadership sort of oppressed young upcoming leaders so that they do not, or because they seem like a threat, so they also do not take up that particular chance. And we had nominated the Senator there, Martha Wangari, saying that, you know, the youth should not be given positions on the sidelines, rather in the main discussions where actually the major discussions of, for instance, political parties and also governors are made. They want to be at the center of those discussions, part of the deciding teams. Now, we also had Tiboni, who says, Kenya is the first nation in the world ever to have a president and his deputy as youth. That's a big statement. Hashtag transforming youth Kenya, KE rather. Now, moving on to another trending topic, we have the Trump Foundation. Of course, Donald Trump has continued to be under trouble in regards to him releasing his tax returns, and we have seen the New York Times write about this. And now questions are actually coming from his Trump Foundation, and you know, the State Attorney General orders Trump Foundation to cease raising money in New York. Now, in case you did not know, Donald Trump is among the front runners for the presidential seat set in the American elections, where Obama is actually marking his final days, and either him or Clinton will take up that seat next. So he's a front runner on the U.S. presidential seat. Now we have Donald Knott, who says Donald looks like Trump Foundation is a fake charity, having consistently failed to file the papers that make it a charity in New York State. Now we have Smack says, Trump now to cost taxpayers more money as investigation of Trump Foundation is necessary. Will it ever end? Moving on to other trending topics, we do have a National Boyfriend Day. Well, we just had a number of people actually just making fun from this. We had at Lohan, who says, Happy National Boyfriend Day to my man, who's not aware that he is my man yet. Take care of yourself. And I also found this one quite funny. I'll just jump over to the third one, that I love holidays like National Boyfriend Day because it's just another reminder of how single I am. That is according to Amy_K. We have Tabish, who says, all these girls tweeting how they're scared of clowns, but then post a picture of one of their boyfriends, of course. Just people making fun out of that particular hashtag. Now, moving on to other news, of course, we had Kim Kardashian being robbed yesterday, the day before rather, I can just get that. And of course, very many sentiments coming in regards to whether this was a staged incident or whether it was actually genuine. But then we had Gio saying, a lot of grammatical errors on these tweets, but then did they take Kim Kardashian's marriage ring too? If not, she faked the whole thing, because of course Kim Kardashian's ring was quite expensive. Ronaldo Sydney says, Kim Kardashian, glad you're okay and that your little ones were not with you. I can't wait to hear the song about this by Kanye. And of course Kanye is the husband there. Now moving on, Perfect Illusion says, even though I don't like hashtag Kim Kardashian, I wouldn't wish what happened to her in a million years. No one deserves that. Of course, follow more on that if you're a fan of such entertainment news. Of course, you can always Google to find out more on that. Now, the hashtag is K24Fajiri. You know, next hour, I'm actually quite excited because we're taking up a look at photography as a career and what it would actually, and how people actually make a living out of that. We shall be speaking to a number of great photographers here in Nairobi. We shall also be looking at the journey, how photography has come forward. Of course, with technology, also it has had its impact on photography. So you do not want to miss that in case you've always been talented or you've always been interested in taking up photography as a career and even as a hobby, then this next conversation is for you. Amina will be engaging on that. For now, we take a short commercial break. Kitchen for Fajiri. We'll be right back.